Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Saturday, August 16th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far today. This is episode 604 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. For those tuning in on YouTube, make sure to please like and subscribe. Of course, appreciate all of those tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms. As I mentioned, it is Saturday night, and we are recapping the New York Jets 31-12 loss against the New York Giants tonight at MetLife Stadium in the Snoopy Bowl. Although by the time many of you are listening to this, it'll probably be Sunday, maybe Sunday morning. Whenever you are listening to this, appreciate you tuning in. As always, the support means so much here to me on the channel. We're going to be breaking down all my biggest takeaways from today's performance. Definitely a different outcome, a different feel to this preseason game compared to last week. This time last week, you were walking out of the game against the Packers in Lambeau with a lot of positives. Today, specifically for the starting offense, it was a different story. It was ugly. And there was a lot to clean up. But as we mentioned last week, and I'll preface this again here before we dive into this, it's preseason. And the New York Jets still have one more game left here to go. You've still got a couple more training camp practices remaining. At the end of the day, the wins, the losses, they don't count. Everything, the slate is wiped completely clean here after next week, and everybody's back to 0-0 for the regular season, which is ultimately what matters. But definitely you would have liked to seen a little bit of a stronger performance tonight and a nice consecutive strong performance out of this starting offense, out of Justin Fields. They got a little bit more run than they did last week, right? Last week, just one drive. This week, they got two opportunities. And I want to just kind of break down the starting offense, their two drives, and then get into the rest of the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, some of my bigger takeaways defensively as well, the good, the bad, the ugly, however you want to label it. We'll dive into that. But it's funny, today's game actually started out pretty well for the Jets from a kickoff perspective and in the first couple plays on offense, right? Kene Nwangu took it out, 38 yards on the kickoff return. Really good start there. And then the Jets very quickly were able to get the ball to Mason Taylor. A couple plays later, Braylon Allen punched it across on 4th and 1 for a 3-yard pickup to convert on a first down. And all of a sudden, in just a couple plays, after a good kickoff return, after a 4th down conversion, a quick completion to Mason Taylor, you got him involved here in his first NFL game action on the first play from scrimmage, which was nice to see for this Jets offense. It stalled very quickly after that. Fields then missed Breece Hall short to the right side for an incompletion. He then missed Garrett Wilson. And then on 3rd down and 10, tried to get it to Garrett Wilson again. Looked like it was potentially pass interference. Either way, it's the preseason. Paulson Adebo, no PI. Play moves on, and the Jets go, after that first down conversion, 3 and out. So a tough drive. You get the good kickoff return. You get the nice positive momentum you had from last week's preseason game. You had, of course, the 2 days of joint practice. You were hoping in that moment, all right, good starting field position for this offense. You got the 4th down and 1 conversion from Braylon Allen. Here you are. You're on the Giants logo at midfield, and a couple more first downs, a couple more moving the chains, and you've got yourself in a nice position to go down and score once again on your first drive. And that quickly stalled. And that kind of set the tone for the night. Ultimately ended in just a 7-play, 12-yard drive that lasted 3 minutes. The next drive was a little bit better for the starting offense, but from a passing game perspective, not a whole lot going for Justin Fields. It was entirely running the football, which was good from the run game approach. And you saw a couple really nice holes open up for Braylon Allen. He had a really nice chunk play for about 11 yards on a 3rd down and 8 to pick up a first down, which was really, really nice. A 3rd down and long run to get 11 yards there for the first down is huge in an actual game, a game that counted. That would be massive for this New York Jets team. But you did see some of those scenarios tonight where this is a Jets team that you don't want to get yourself into those 3rd and long situations. Because while a 11-yard run from Breece Hall is nice, for a team that's going to want to run the football and want to have a high 3rd down conversion rate, in order to do that, your best situations to be in is going to be 3rd and short, is going to be 4th and short, which you saw in that first play where first drive where Braylon Allen punched it across for the first down on the 4th and inches. But you had the nice play, 3rd and 8, you converted it. That was a positive. And a couple other nice plays from a run game perspective. But that was pretty much it. Drive ended up stalling. Fields on a 3rd down and 2 tried to hit Garrett Wilson on a slant. Would have been a first down, obviously, but a play that Fields should make. A play that I would have liked Fields to make. And ball was slightly thrown behind Garrett Wilson. Could have been a better ball, but on a slant there, 3rd down and 2, you've spent the entire drive running the football. Fields had a scramble himself where he slid down on a 1st and 10 for a pickup of 5, which is a nice play on a first down to get 5 yards, leaving yourself with just needing 5 the next 2 plays, or the next 2 downs, rather. But on that 3rd down and 2, that's a play that Justin Fields has got to make. A slant to Garrett Wilson, you've got to hit that. You've got to be able to move the chain. So for this Jets offense, for the starting offense, it was meh. You saw some good in the run game. You didn't see much of anything in the pass game. Fields looked Garrett Wilson's way 3 times, got nowhere. The one Breece Hall play where he looked his way didn't go anywhere anyway. And really, you look at Justin Fields tonight, his only completion came on the first play of the game. The rest of the night, it was 4 straight incompletions, and in between all that, it was a lot of running. So he finished 1 of 5 for 4 yards, not nearly what he did last week, where it was the short, quick completions, the 2 big plays to Andrew Beck, where he hauled it in and picked up some really positive yards after the catch. Rough night. And I do think this is one of these games, this is one of these nights where you look at this receiving core and it's just tough to really see somebody really, truly emerge behind Garrett Wilson right now. You know, I would have liked to seen Josh Reynolds tonight get open a bit and become a factor in these 2 drives. You didn't see that. Josh Reynolds, to me, is this team's wide receiver too, but I would have liked to see more out of Josh Reynolds these last 2 preseason games. This is a guy that knows this offense. He has experience in it from Detroit, knows this type of wide receiver 2 role where he's essentially your 4th most targeted behind what should be Breece, Mason Taylor, and of course Garrett Lee in the way. And not to pinpoint this all on Josh Reynolds, but just you saw it in the passing game tonight. I mean, 3 of the 5 passes were to Garrett Wilson. None of them were completed. It's Garrett Wilson and everybody else. That's really what it is, and it's tough. I mean, the one play Garrett Wilson was double teamed. You know, and that's something in the regular season the Jets are going to have to work through. The Jets are going to have these guys emerge behind Garrett. Somebody's got to emerge. Somebody in these in-game situations has got to start making plays. And I know you saw that from Arian Smith tonight, which was positive. We'll get to that here in a second. But, you know, even just some of these veterans, like a Josh Reynolds I look at potentially here, who started the summer strong, but it's kind of fizzled out since, hasn't done a whole lot. Even in the practices, you haven't heard his name a ton. So, bumpy night for the starting offense. Complete opposite from last week. Last week, it was 1 drive. It was an efficient 3 of 4 for Justin Fields. It ended in a rushing touchdown for Fields. An Isaiah Davis fake out. All of that. This week, 2 drives, 3 points. Both drives showed some positive elements, but ultimately ended in difficult ways. First drive, you're at midfield. You get a good kickoff return. You can't turn it into anything. Second drive, 3rd down and 2. Fields has got to hit that to Garrett Wilson. In terms of the other quarterbacks tonight, Adrian Martinez was 12 of 21. Brady Cook was 6 of 11. I actually thought Adrian Martinez had a couple nice plays again. Finished with 114 yards. Did have the interception, so that certainly dampened the night a bit. Brady Cook did have the touchdown to Quentin Skinner. That was one of the plays of the night for this Jets team. The only touchdown of the night, of course, for this New York Jets team, as Quentin Skinner made the diving grab in the back of the end zone. So that was in what was, a tough game tonight and a tough watch in many aspects for this offense. That was a highlight late there in the third quarter to punch that one in to make this score look a little less ugly, I guess, if you will, although it's still a 19-point game and there's nothing good in that. Cook, 105.9 passer rating, 6 of 11, 74 yards. As a team passing 19 to 37, 192 yards, a touchdown, a pick. It's a running offense. It's going to be a rushing offense. And I think you saw that tonight. The pass game, it's got a lot of work still to do. And you look in this pass game, it's clearly going to be a team. If Fields is going to have to throw the football 28 to 30 times in a game, you're probably not winning that game. And that's just puts the importance on the run game even more. So that's the quarterback's pass game stuff, starting offense. In terms of the running backs, Braylon Allen tonight, 7 carries, 34 yards. He had the nice, his biggest run of the night, the 11-yard carry on the 3rd down and 8 to move the change, which was a huge play. And that's a play in the regular season that would even be bigger to convert there on a 3rd down and long situation. He ended the night with 4.9 yards per carry. Nwangu actually had a couple nice runs tonight. He showed a little bit of burst. Good game for him. He had a really nice punt return coverage on a booming kick from Austin McNamara to pin the Giants back early. And then he had the nice kickoff return on the opening kickoff. And he also had a couple nice runs tonight. The longest going for 7 yards. Finished, though, 6 of 31. Over 5 yards a carry. So healthy. 31 yards on 6 carries tonight for Kene Nwangu. He's going to stick around. That's clear. Breece Hall, not a ton going. He did have the 112-yard run. That was it. Other than that, it was 6 carries for 14 yards. Donovan Edwards was a big name going into tonight that you were looking forward to seeing. And what you saw last week was not what you saw this week. And that's tough for Donovan Edwards because this was a guy that if he went out there tonight, and maybe you saw him a little bit on special teams tonight as well, but not even that. Just if he went out there tonight and had another big game, had even just a Braylon Allen stat line, 7 for 34, or heck, 6 for 31, you would walk away and say, that's back-to-back weeks now, 4.5, near 5 yards a carry in back-to-back games, and you'd really start to say, okay, let's see him do something on special teams and keep him around. He definitely took a step back this week. Only 8 carries for 21 yards, 2.6 yards per carry, so a significant drop-off from last week, which was the star of the game. As a team, though, the Jets still rushed for 141 yards. They rushed for 147 last week. So it's clear again, you walk out of this game to run-first offense. Pass game, it's ugly at times. But the run game, there was certainly positives to take away there. In terms of the receiving game in this one, Quentin Skinner, the highlight touchdown, the diving grab in the end zone will catch a lot of fans' eyes. He finished the night four catches for 48 yards. That wasn't just the only grab. He made a couple other plays as well, but the touchdown being the biggest one. He continues to be somebody that I would like to see this team stash on their practice squad. I really would. We'll see if that happens. I don't think he makes the 53. And I think when you look at this 53-man roster, there's a lot of decisions to be made anyway when you comes to this receiving room. But just in general, I think you're looking at your bubble receivers, guys like Brandon Smith, Jamal Pritchett. I think those guys are ahead of Quentin Skinner. But Quentin Skinner is certainly somebody that I could see and would like to see the Jets keeping him around from a practice squad perspective, providing depth there. But the touchdown was positive. The two Smiths tonight, again, were excellent. You want to talk about some of the negatives with the offense tonight. You look at the positives. Brandon Smith was excellent again tonight. 5 catches, 48 yards. Last week had the 2 catches for the first down. This week puts up 48 yards. That was tied for first on the team. He led the team in receptions tonight. And Arian Smith as well. He did have the drop, a little bit of a bumpy start, but bounced back, rebounded, and finished the night with 2 catches for 39 yards. Arian Smith made some plays tonight as well. That's now back-to-back games. That's now just completes what was a very strong week for the rookie. He had 2 really good joint practices, and he also had a good game last week, and he followed that up now with another good game this week. Arian Smith, as much as we talk about the lack of guys emerging behind Garrett Wilson, Arian Smith is somebody to continue to keep an eye on. And I know he had the drop tonight, but the way he was able to bounce back, I think, was a positive. And this is just the guy that you look going into the year as potentially being a vertical threat, certain package type of player. That's far from the case right now. This is a guy that's looking like he could play a much bigger role in this team here in 2025, and maybe at some point emerge as the number 2. We'll see. But you went into tonight, Brandon Smith, Arian Smith, the Smiths. You came out of tonight, both those guys made some plays. Combined between the 2 of those players, you had 7 catches for 87 yards. And Brandon Smith, I'll continue to say, I don't see how he is not on this team over somebody like Allen Lazard. I would 100% take a wide receiver room that consists of Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson. Those 2 are making the team. Arian Smith, we know that. And then your next 2, I would so much rather the next 2 receivers that fill out number 5 and 6 be Brandon Smith and Jamal Pritchett over Lazard and a Corley or a Gibson. We've seen enough of Gibson. Corley barely played tonight. Couple special teams rep. He barely played on offense. He wasn't even on the field tonight. Corley's gone. There's no chance Malachi Corley is making this team. And you know that because he's not even seeing the field right now in preseason. He's not even getting an opportunity. Last week, he didn't do anything. He hasn't done anything in these practices. He hasn't done anything going back to the spring. He hasn't done anything. He's gone. There's no chance Corley's making this team. It's between Jamal Pritchett and Gibson, and I think Pritchett's making this team over Gibson. I think the Gibson ship has sailed. He's hit his ceiling. It's time to bring another young piece in like Pritchett who can return punts and see if he could provide you anything from a receiving perspective. But there is no reason why Brandon Smith should not be over this team, on this team over Allen Lazard. Shouldn't be, rather. He should. We know what Allen Lazard is. Let's bank on the unknown and take a chance on a young guy in Brandon Smith and see what he can do. He's shown you significantly more this offseason, and Lazard's hurt. He's not even out there. So those are some of my big takeaways from the receiver room. Arian Smith, Brandon Smith both played well. Quentin Skinner as well. Stone Smart pancaked Abdul Carter, so that was something. Membu as well. Couple nice run blocks. Just thinking of some of these other things, looking at some of these other takeaways here. But all in all, rough night for the offense. You haven't seen anything from Corley, and you continue to see, just in general with this team, lots of penalties. Another night here, 7 penalties, 65 yards. Last week, lots of penalties. Glenn continues to emphasize it. It's got to be fixed. It's going to take time. This is a very undisciplined team that's got a lot of bad habits, and there's a lot to work on from there. But Glenn continues to address it. In terms of the defense, you look at some of the secondary guys that stood out tonight. Now, Andre Cisco, if you're Cisco, you'd love to have that rep back against Bo Collins because that was ugly. Got beat by Russ and Bo Collins for the 80-yard, massive 80-yard reception to open up the game, which ended up leading to the opening scoring drive. So just all in all, the night got off to a really bad start. Offense, goes nowhere after a good kickoff return, good punt, and then boom, 80 yards, snap of a finger, Giants are down the field, and they end up punching it in. But Dean Clark tonight had an interception. Quantez Stiggers had an interception. Dean Clark, what a game it was for him. He's been an underrated player that I've talked about, both Clarks actually. But Dean Clark here, 6 tackles tonight. He had a sack, 2 passes defended, and an interception. Heck of a night for him. It was the Dean Clark game. That's what tonight was. So another one of these depth guys in the secondary. I mentioned it yesterday on the preview pod, or whenever you're listening to this. It might be 2 days ago. Either way, Friday afternoon on the preview pod for this game, I mentioned Jordan Clark and Dean Clark as 2 players to keep an eye on. And Dean Clark goes out there tonight and has a really solid game. I thought Jarius Monroe did some good things tonight. He had a pass defended. He continues to be somebody that provides special teams value. Played a little bit of corner tonight as well. This is a guy that's typically safety, but showed some versatility, played some corner, had a pass breakup. I think Jarius Monroe, and I want to bring into this next player here, JBC also had a pass breakup tonight, and he did some good things. Really tonight, depth in the secondary tonight showed out. Dean Clark, Jarius Monroe, Jarek Bernard-Converse, Quantez Stiggers, all made plays tonight. But just looking at kind of the roster and how the 53 might shake out, Jarek Bernard-Converse, I think his chances of making this roster significantly decrease with somebody like Jarius Monroe playing well and having that special teams versatility. Just because it's tough to keep all these guys, and you kind of looked at this secondary room going into the year, and you had to kind of find an odd man out. Stiggers is going to make this team. Jarius Monroe, with the special teams value he brings, a little bit of the safety corner versatility, feels like he's going to be in ahead at Jarek Bernard-Converse. So that's just a battle on the back end to watch, but all of them played well tonight. I mean, between the 3 of those guys, you had 4 passes defended and an interception. Stiggers as well, pass defended along with an interception. Stiggers is a really nice depth piece to have. It's a guy that can show you he can do some things in coverage, and he's been excellent on special teams. Continues to be somebody to keep an eye on. Brandon Stevens had a nice rep early in the game on a 3rd down to break up a pass. I said on the preview pod as well that I wanted Stevens to be challenged a bit. Did a really nice job. Ball was thrown. Stevens jumped the route. Broke it up. Really nice hustle play. A play that you like to see from Brandon Stevens. And frankly, we've seen a lot of that from Brandon Stevens this summer. Getting his hands on the football, breaking up passes, couple interceptions. It's been really, really good. Pass rush tonight was not what it was last week. You didn't have any strip sacks. You didn't have much pressure. Only 2 sacks tonight total. One of those coming from Dean Clark, the other coming from Kingsley Jonathan, but you didn't see, a big J2 Fele revenge game or J2 Fele, build off of it type of game where he went out there again tonight and dominated. You didn't see that. Just in general, I thought the defensive line depth tonight was disappointing. It was disappointing. I think you would have liked to seen more. Last week, it was excellent. You saw a lot of really good things. You saw a lot of really good things against the Packers starting offensive line, which made it even more of a positive. You went into tonight and you were hoping to see this team build off of that. This defensive line depth build off of that, and you didn't see it. That was a negative tonight. That was something that you didn't see that you were hoping to see out of this Jets team. So that was unfortunate and something that you should keep an eye on here the rest of the way as to who's emerging behind Quinn and Williams, because you would have liked to seen them continue that trend from last week. Are they going to be that great as they were last week? Is J2 Philly going to go out there and do what he did last week every single week? No, but they were very non-factor and non-existent tonight, especially against that Giants starting offense. The pass rush was nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. So that's it. Those are my main takeaways. Jets lose 31-12. Aaron Glenn was upset. He made that clear at the podium. He made that clear at halftime talking to Otis Livingston. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. He's right. It was not a good game. Lots of sloppiness, offensively, defensively, penalties, pass game. It was ugly. Not what we saw last week where this team cruised to a 30-10 victory. But as I say, and I preface this as always, because I said it in the beginning, I'll say it again. I said it last week. It's preseason. It's preseason. Can't overreact to a win. Can't overreact to the loss. If there's a tie, you can't overreact to that either. One more game coming up Friday night, MetLife, Jets, Eagles. The Joe Douglas revenge game, some are calling it. So we'll be here, of course, discussing all that. We'll have a ton more content coming your way this upcoming week. Preseason, one more week left. Training camp preseason. This time next week, we'll start to close this page and really open up the 2025 season and really get ready for that. 3 weeks tomorrow, or by the time you're listening to this, 3 weeks from today, if you're listening to this on Sunday, Jets, Steelers. So we're getting closer. Cannot wait. A lot more content coming your way. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What are your biggest takeaways from tonight's Jets, Giants preseason game number 2? Positives, negatives, any other Jets takes. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Appreciate you all as always. Until next time, JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.